Yeah, that's washed out bad. Move.
No, it's sitting here.
I don't see anything. Hey, John. Do you intentionally have your video off?
No.
Okay, I must have did that. There you go. What's up, man?
Doing okay?
Yeah, absolutely. How are you?
Not bad.
Donovan, you there, buddy? Donovan.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Sienna, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Donovan.
We're a little slow getting into it. Hopefully some others will show up. Hey, while we're waiting on a few more to show up in here for you guys, obviously this is my brother, right? I don't know how this time's working out for you guys, 2 or 3 o'clock. Is that pretty reasonable, Sienna? Or do you think I need to change my times?
I think that's fine.
Okay, because I got one, I just got done scheduling one for next week. Are you guys still getting updates on your phones when I'm posting stuff or no?
I have mine directed to emails, so my emails pop up.
Okay. I got one next week on Wednesday at 3 o'clock with an agent from TBI.
Mhm.
So he's in charge of human trafficking. So if you can spread the word,
Yes.
let your
I know.
let your compadres know, because I'd like to have max participation on there if I can.
Yes. I know a few of them work today, so that's why some aren't.
Oh, I got it.
But hello, Mr. Days.
Hey, Mr. Bay. Hey, Mr. Bay.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Hey,
Chilling?
Sienna.
Hey, Lana.
They should. Never mind.
One or two more minutes, we can get started. Do you guys, have you talked to anybody else?
Mm-mm.
Like teachers or students?
Say again?
You mean teachers or students?
Oh, heck no. Screw the teachers. I'm talking about you guys.
No.
Just a little bit, but not really.
Right.
Donovan, how you holding up, buddy?
Good.
How's the family?
Good. Just chilling. Mr. Day, I have a question.
What's that?
I have a question. So since I missed the first one, can I still get the?
You're good.
Okay. My Wi-Fi was down, so we need to get it fixed.
You're good.
Aren't we getting released tomorrow? Kinda.
So partially, yes, but they're doing it in phases. So, well, John, it looks like we're gonna go with this. Don't stop what you're doing if other people join a few minutes late. So if you want to go ahead and get into it, brother.
Okay. So I appreciate you guys coming. It's nice to meet somebody in Matt's class. I'm glad the three of you could be here today. I don't know how much my brother shared with you guys about me. Has he told you anything about me at all?
Yes. He said you worked
Yeah,
for
the fact that we look alike.
Yeah. He mentioned that a lot.
So I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then we're gonna get into a discussion about chain of command, incident command, unified command, that kind of stuff. I know it's a dry subject. However, there's a lot of application in real life. So where it's only two-dimensional for you guys in the textbooks and taking the test, I can provide some real life experience from how it's used.
Sienna,
So
he's talking specifically about FEMA 100 and 200 is what he's talking about.
Mhm.
Were you able to, did you get both of those done?
Yes, I think I did when we did it in class.
Yep.
So I've been in a fire service a little over 21 years now. Been a paramedic for 17, and I've been a company officer or a lieutenant for the better part of 7 years. I've also been on an incident management team for the state of Ohio for the last 6 years. Been involved in responses to Colorado for wildfires, New York State for floods, Florida for hurricane season, as well as local incidents to include tornadoes just south of us here in Butler County in Claremont County, Ohio. So it's a multifaceted approach to public safety. It involves everybody from cops and firemen to emergency managers. What else you want me to say, brother?
Oh, you're good, man.
Okay. So you guys took the 100 and 200 class and took
Yes.
the test. Do you remember any of the terminology or stuff required in those?
It's been a little bit long, but
Oh, yeah.
That was
So
back,
does the
it was
term
back last year. when she
unified
did it.
command? Does unified command mean anything to you guys?
No, I never heard it before.
All right.
Never heard it? Okay. So simple enough, especially with you guys being in law enforcement, the borders between police and fire are separated pretty substantially when it comes to how you guys will operate in the field. You know, individually, you'll be doing your own thing, where the fire service has operated under incident command system for many years. So we're accountable up and down the chain of command for what we do. Conversely, you guys will be working in the cruiser by yourself. So you don't have to rely on so much direct supervision. So if we do have a multifaceted, multi-jurisdictional response, we have to have representation from both sides of the house between police and fire. Therefore, you would have representative from the police department and a representative from the fire department, and they would perform what's called unified command. That way, regardless of what, yep.
Let me jump in here. So we end up,
Okay.
we're at school and we're going through our day and everything's great. All of a sudden we get active shooter alarm in our building. What is that going to look like from your guys' side? Because you know what we're doing in the building as teachers, like we're locking all of our kids down, we're barricading doors, so on and so forth. What are you guys doing as a fire department in conjunction or in unison with police responding to an incident like that?
So I'm actually in charge of, it's called a Rescue Task Force, RTF. I'm in charge of that for City of Monroe Fire Department. We work collectively with all the local police departments, and they actually provide us training so that we can effectively go in is they're making contact with the bad guy if there is an active shooter or a hostile incident going on. The expectation for the way things are done today versus 10 years ago is the law enforcement will send a contact team in. They go to the bad guy. As soon as they get enough law enforcement representation on scene, they actually escort us into wherever the building is. So they provide cover for us as paramedics, so we can do procedures like stop the bleed and tourniquet application. So it requires the unified command for this because we don't understand police talk. The lingo is totally different. The way they operate internally is different than us. And all we're looking for them to provide us is security to our paramedics going in treating patients. So we'll have a unified command system set up and a representative from the RTF that'll be coordinating efforts and doing calculations of transport decisions and treatments, as well as casualty collection points wherever the building is and wherever law enforcement determines is secure enough for us to operate.
What about with the tie-in to the building itself? Do you guys have people show up that's part of Unified Command from the school or the school district that also is a part of that as well?
So that's part of the coordination effort on the front end of it prior to an incident happening. We will have a representative. Typically, we want someone from maintenance so they understand the entire layout of the floor. And quite frankly, it gets down to somewhat of a power struggle because the principals are accustomed to being in charge of their buildings. When those type of events jump off, they're no longer in charge. It would be law enforcement coordinating with everybody else on site. So whatever law enforcement representative is there takes ownership of that building. It'd be no different than if it was a working structure fire. It'd be the fire department scene until the fire's out.
Okay, that makes sense.
Well, what else you got?
You three have any questions?
What are,
No, I don't have any.
Nothing? Donovan, what's wrong with you, buddy? Did you just wake up?
Like 30 minutes ago.
Golly. The struggle's real.
I was up until 6 o'clock this morning
Doing what?
playing video games.
Unbelievable.
what do you play?
They put an option on most game consoles. Do you know it's a button? Do you know what button I'm talking about?
The one to turn it on? Yeah.
The OFF
The one to
button?
turn it off, you dirtbag. Golly.
It says OFF.
Yeah. Alana, you got any questions? Deanna?
Do you live and work in Ohio? Or where do you?
Correct. I live in Butler County, Ohio. The closest place for you to orient yourself would be about 45 minutes north of Cincinnati.
I wasn't sure if like you lived here in Tennessee or if you lived over there or worked there.
No, I don't live in Tennessee. Actually, I'm still in the area that Matt and I grew up in.
It's crazy seeing two of you.
Yeah. There's not much difference between he and I.
No.
However, the police versus fire thing is very real between he and I.
He told us some stories about you two.
Let's hear one. We'll see if he was telling the truth or not.
I don't know exactly, but I don't know. You mentioned.
See how good you paid attention.
Okay, it's been a while, so like I'm not sure. But you mentioned something about, because both of you guys were somewhere, and this one guy thought that you were your brother.
No,
Yes.
he thought John was
Oh,
me.
there. Yeah, there, that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So-
That actually created a problem for me.
Oh man.
So with him being in law enforcement around here for as long as he was, and us being local to the area, there were a lot of folks that got he and I confused regularly.
Oh. Yeah.
All right, you guys don't have any other questions?
Um.
Come on, Alana. I can't hear you.
It's my first time. I don't know what to say.
It's like we're in the classroom. So whatever questions you got. Nothing? All right, John, I got one for you. As far as the interaction between police and fire and incidents you responded to and did all the incident command and that kind of stuff, what was one of the most eye-opening experiences that you were exposed to law enforcement in a way that on a typical day that you're working on shift, you don't see police work in that manner, or you didn't understand about their roles and all their responsibilities?
I had two examples that came up immediately as soon as you asked that question. So the first one I'll use is when we were out in Colorado. So we were out there for the Black Forest fires, which is near Pikes Peak, for you guys to have some reference to where I'm speaking of. Huge wildland fire. It's clearly a fire thing, right? Like, what business would cops have being out there being involved? We ended up having a bunch of unmarked vehicles show up, and it's exactly like you see on TV, but 100 times worse. It's a bunch of federal agents showing up because there are Verizon and FedEx hubs that are out there, unmarked areas that needed particular security because it was interstate commerce and international trade that was being protected. So there are concerns about communications failures and that type of thing. I'd never seen that level of law enforcement representation ever on a fire scene anywhere. The second one would be specific to incident command when we were in New York, Schoharie County flooding. There were folks from Port Authority. I was having a hard time coming up with that. I never knew what those folks did. And they had to be integrated into the command system because all the decisions that were being made to reroute floodwater and that kind of stuff, that was their expertise. And I didn't realize law enforcement functioned at that level. So it was interesting to see where we were trying to come in and do debris removal and that type of stuff. They were as focused about the disaster response as we were. Addition to that, we ended up having like a animal rehab center that was directly impacted by one of the flooded areas, and they had to have SWAT officers go out in utility vehicles and snipe daggone monkey.
He froze up. That was a horrible place to end, wasn't it? Talking about sniping a monkey. Golly.
You're calling him?
Yeah.
You can chat with him in the Zoom.
Hey, buddy, you froze up on us. You're good. No, you're good, man.
Right back.
No, you're good, man.
My room.
It's you cut off when you said snipe a monkey. Yeah, that was perfect timing. You left us with a cliffhanger. So I don't know, I can end the meeting, we can go back in, or if you think there's possibility, like you should be able to just close out all of it and then try to sign back in. If it's not gonna let you back in there, dude. There we go. Yeah. Boom.
Woo!
Terrible. Okay.
Sniped a monkey. Go ahead.
Holy crap, dude. Yeah, so I don't know any other time I would have ever interacted with law enforcement and had those kind of weird circumstances. Like, on what planet would that even make sense for a disaster response? We're trying to take care of debris removal and that kind of stuff. And these guys are coming in and all their battle rattle and going out sniping monkeys because they got hepatitis. They didn't want anybody to get infected with these things running around attacking domesticated animals or any of the livestock. So, I don't know. It's just one of those crazy stories.
I left a speaker in here, bro.
That is crazy.
No.
So I got one for you. Growing up,
Okay.
a story that's not gonna get me fired. Tell a story about you and I.
There's only 5 of
And
them.
tell one funny story on me growing up.
Oh, growing up?
Yeah.
Okay, so brother had a girlfriend that he really wanted to go see. He decided he was going to sneak out of the house. So we lived in a big old 2-story farmhouse. So you can't move in the house without being heard anywhere because of the wood floors. So what do you think was the best alternative to get out of the house?
Jump out the window.
No.
Yeah, jump out the window. So he goes, he sees his girlfriend. He needs to get back in the house. How's he going to get back in the house?
Climb the
Depends
window.
Yeah.
nearby.
What's that?
Huh?
You climb the window.
You had a tree, the
Right.
gutter.
No. His twin brother throws a rope out the window and helps him pull and come back in.
Oh, wow.
John
At
pulled me
night?
all. He pulled me all the way back up into the room.
How
Did you
long
get
did it take?
Yep.
Did y'all get caught?
No.
No. And we didn't tell our parents until we were probably in our 20s.
Yeah.
Now,
Wow.
I'll tell you a story about brother with he and I working together at Monroe.
There we
He
go.
was a police officer there. He
Mhm.
showed up at the firehouse one day to visit because all cops are envious of firemen sitting in recliners. So he wanted to come sit in a recliner. He was having a bad day. He decided it was time for us to fight.
I know. I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Yeah. So we had a couple of new guys working at the fire department, and they didn't realize just what type of relationship my brother and I had. So he and I wrestled it out in the backyard of the firehouse.
Wow.
Went inside, washed himself up, put his duty belt back on, and got right back in his cruiser and left. Those guys were sitting there with their jaws on the floor. They did not understand what had just happened.
See, I didn't think you was going there. I thought you was going to talk about the smoking dragon.
Smoking
Oh,
dragon.
no. Yeah, you go for it.
So,
Yeah.
you know how you guys do all these dumb challenges, like eat Tide Pods and all this crap?
See, I don't do that.
Right.
Yeah, thank God.
Jonathan,
The
you
other
have,
people.
I would argue otherwise. I think you've had one or
It's
two.
messed up.
Okay.
No, like,
Well, the breathing dragon is a teaspoonful of cinnamon, and you gotta swallow the whole thing down. Well, I already knew what I was doing because I knew you really can't do it, but I wanted to try like heck to do it, right? So no crap, there I was in uniform on shift.
That's right.
I take this spoonful of cinnamon, and I got it all in. I just couldn't get it all down. It come out everywhere like it's supposed to, and then I ended up throwing up. It got all over my uniform. It was a mess.
Oh yeah.
That's
So,
nasty.
I will tell you another one. We would consistently have intoxicated folks that would be pulled over by law enforcement. And whenever Matt would pull over the intoxicated folks, and then I would come to take them to the hospital, they were always messed up because, as you would imagine, they'd be confused which guy they were speaking to, and they never did recognize who was in what uniform. So the expectation was for them, the same guy that put them in handcuffs was the one that was taken to the daggone hospital. So they'd always give me lip or give me a hard time thinking I was the one that arrested them.
Wow.
We had fun with it.
Oh yeah.
Well,
So somebody tell me why you want to be in law enforcement.
tell him because firemen need a hero.
Yeah, I wish I walked around with a Batman belt on all the time too.
That's funny.
Okay. What's better, my belt? I can carry all my equipment, or you need a whole freaking truck to carry all your crap.
That's
Wow.
because we got all the toys, son.
And you're busting on me for having a Batman belt. Okay.
So
Have you
are
guys
you guys
tried,
really committed? Do what?
have you guys tried like switching jobs for a day?
Actually, Matt and I got to be on a volunteer fire department together when he lived at home. It was a couple years he and I were on.
So I realized that as I worked on volunteer fire department, that my call to service was law enforcement. So
And I'd never make it as a cop. I got too bad a temper.
Understandable for both ends.
well, Donovan, you got any questions?
No.
Sienna?
Not that I can think of at the moment.
Alana?
I want to ask, like, for like every criminal justice field, like if you're to work for any field, we have to like do like physical work or like, you know what I mean?
Are you talking about public service? Like police, fire, that kind of stuff? Or what do you mean?
I mean, like, you know when people are at the desk at the police, like at the police station,
Yeah.
do they got to go through like the police training too?
If they're a certified police officer, they have to pass the physical fitness test. And they have to maintain a level of physical fitness. Now, if you're just an administrative worker, like you file paperwork and work at the front window, taking walk-ins and phone calls and stuff like that, those people do not.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
That does.
Well, John, I'm going to
I
thank
can tell you from my standpoint, we do annual PT testing. So if you're going to be in the field and active, maintaining that physical readiness and maintaining a healthy lifestyle is not an expectation, but a deliberate act to make sure you're good to function for your career as well as enjoy retirement, because it's physically and emotionally demanding, regardless of police or fire.
Well, John, do you have anything else you want to add?
I appreciate the time getting to speak to you guys. I'm hopeful that the school year will resume and you guys can get back to business as usual. I encourage you to continue to pursue good academics. I never did well in high school, and it certainly made it difficult for me as I went out and tried to start an adult life because I did very poorly. So stay committed to your studies. I know it's a pain in the tail getting the homework done and stuff, but whatever you can do to stay with it is definitely a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Brother, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of your day and doing the Zoom with us. And I just giving my kids an opportunity to meet you and hear from another perspective what the FEMA courses and how they benefit and that kind of stuff. So thank you for that. For you guys, I would see you here Wednesday at 3 o'clock again. So y'all have a good day. Brother, I love you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.